Today was bad. Light work, people. Light work. Seems we're soft all over the pitch.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
I'm sticking to it. I told you to host. Like you thought I'm gonna just because you thought once we press live he'll be all right. He's gonna start saying welcome, welcome. I told you I'm not feeling well. And when was the last time you saw me drink?
Lucozade.
Yeah.
Orange
as opposed
squash.
to milk.
What is that? That's not Lucozade. That's orange squash.
Oh, it's Lucozade.
No, it's not Lucozade. It's not Lucozade. It's orange squash.
It's the still Lucozade orange. I'm not feeling
Robinson's.
well at all.
Okay, so Grizz ain't well.
Qasim, how did you work out it's Robinson's?
I know it's Robinson's. I can tell. It's the colorization.
You're absolutely mental.
I'm
this
right
is actually Robinson's.
I'm always right. Orange squash. Yeah, look, man. Robinson's is a famous brand. It's not hard, is it? It wasn't going to be Ribena orange, was it? So
but it could have been any drink or juice or anything. But flavor?
Orange barley. Orange.
Orange barley.
Close, Rax, close.
Oh, like orange.
Orange
was a tropical one. Tropical.
Yeah. But I'm not feeling well, so sorry. Have you take over?
Okay, I'll take over. Welcome to usually these Saturday shows are called like primetime shows, but it's prime time for me, but it's not prime time for Grizz. He's not well, but we're gonna do what we can. Welcoming our guest. I think it's the first time that I've ever shared the scene with Rax Singh. How are you, Rex?
Yeah, I'm good. Avi. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Grizz.
Were you reporting from Grizz? Rex, you got a bit of a nice background behind you. Which city are you in? Portugal, Lisbon?
No, not Portugal, not Lisbon. Not maybe tomorrow, but for today I'm in London. So back home.
Brilliant. And
this is so inevitable, isn't it? Like an American, right? A fellow American of yours, right? And it just so happens it's our very own Ivan. It's our very own Ivan, and he wants to know what the fuck is a Lucozade. Now, I think we should educate him tomorrow when we're on Red Fellas.
Yeah, you can get it here, Evan, but it's very overly priced out in the States.
Okay.
Very overly priced. But and how are you, Grizz?
I've just told you.
You weren't feeling up to it today. What's wrong? You got a bit of a cold, is it? Or sore throat?
Yeah, I'm just feeling run down, man. And if there's any Chelsea fans in here and start saying, I'm feeling run down because they've just become World Club Cup champions. Yeah, it's not because of that, people. Congratulations to him. In fact, we probably start off by congratulating Chelsea on actually winning the World Club Cup. There you go, champions of the world, as they put it.
Credit to them.
What do you think? Yeah, credit to them.
Credit to them. Look, it's hard because I do like Tommy Tuchel. I do like him as a coach. I've liked him like from his Dortmund days. I think he does get harshly criticized by the media, and there should never be. First of all, there should never be any comparisons between Klopp and Tuchel. They're both different managers who have kind of different styles. And Tuchel's done well though, Grizz. He took over a Frank Lampard team which wasn't really going anywhere. He got the sack. Tuchel takes over. Took him to the FA Cup final, which they lost to Leicester. Won the Champions League, beating City. Played really well. Set his team up perfectly for that game. Won obviously the Super Cup in the one-off game. Then they go on to win the Club World Championship, and they're in the Carabao Cup. So fair play to Tuchel. He's getting a tune out of this Chelsea squad. I know they're a bit languishing behind sort of City in the league, but he's putting trophies on trophies in their cabinet, and that's all the management can ask for. Yes, they probably want the big one, which is the Premiership and the Champions League again, but he's already delivered one of them. I think maybe another year they could be serious Premier League titles, where Premier League title contenders. They'll be thereabouts in April, May. I don't think they'll be there this season. I think he still needs to sort out a few things at Chelsea, but next season I think with another sort of spending spree in the summer. I don't know how, Rax, you feel about Chelsea, but yeah, I think they'll go again next season when it comes to the league.
Yeah, look, I've just been in a few spaces with a few Chelsea fans. Look, I don't like Chelsea as a club, but we've all got friends who are Chelsea fans. My business partner's a Chelsea fan, as are his kids, and they'll be kind of giving me a bit of ribbing and stuff. But yeah, look, congratulations to them. It's a very exclusive, very small club. Only ourselves, Man United, and now Chelsea are in it. And I think one of my friends on Space was just mentioning they're only the second English team to do the World Treble, which is obviously the Champions League, the Super Cup, and the World Club Cup. So
do we recognise that as a proper treble though? Because United fans will say, "Oh, it's a Mickey Mouse treble." Do we just say treble? A treble's a treble.
Well, go through the trophies again, Rex. Go through the titles again.
The European Cup,
right?
The
Champions League, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The Champions League, the Super Cup, UEFA's official competition between the Champions League and Europa League winners, and the World Club Cup, which is the champions of all the respective confederations. For me, big trophy. I'm going to claim it as a treble. Are United fans? I really don't give a shit.
Just a question to Grizz, because I know this gets spoken about a lot, but you see Barcelona, Real Madrid fan base and the clubs.
Take this off now. That's enough of Chelsea, please.
All right, I'll take them off. Okay.
Well, the only thing I will say is that I think English fans don't necessarily give the Club World Cup the credit it's due. When I used to live in Italy, when I lived there when Milan won it, and it was major news. It was on all the TV stations. Anyone who knows like Italian football fans, you see them driving around in their cars at midnight, beeping their horns and celebrating. It's a big deal there. So I think everywhere apart from England really is a big deal.
This is and this was my question to Grizz. Like, we should recognize it more as a major competition, because Flamengo, when they won it, Palmeiras, I know they were in it, but any club that does win it outside of the Premiership, or outside the English clubs, they celebrate it. They actually revere this trophy as a massive trophy. It looks nice to the eye, maybe not big enough in certain people's eyes, but it's a trophy that should be recognized. No, Grizz?
I think eventually it will be. I think it's a process in place. It's an ongoing process. I do think it's based on arrogance, isn't it? From especially the British, the UK section. And I'm not sure, maybe Rax or you guys will know, but I'm sure the likes of Real Madrid took it very seriously when they were in it, and all the other teams around Europe. We took it fairly seriously as well, if we remember rightly, if we remember correctly. The lineups were strong, sort of the celebration was deep. We took it seriously. And I think it comes down to sort of clubs that are global institutions and know the importance of a global fan base and representing a global fan base. And us, we're 100% one of them. Real Madrid are one of them. And whoever else out of Europe, I don't know if you can, someone in the chat or one of you guys knows the European teams that have won it in recent times.
Barca, Madrid. Well, Madrid won it 3 times in a row when they won the Champions League.
So there you go.
Bayern Munich, obviously, before that last term.
Yeah.
So there you go. And what do they have in common? Global fan bases. And look, we all rib our mates about Chelsea and whatnot, not being the global institution that they want to be known as. But this is the foundations that they need to build to create that legacy, like the likes of Man United, Liverpool, Bayern, Madrid, etc., etc. So, yeah, I think they will take it seriously. They have to if they want to be recognised. Just like I take the mick out of my Man City, to make it clear, 2 Man City mates. As you know, it's very hard. I think I've done a very good. That's a high percentage of actually the Man City fan base. Ratio. I've actually got 2 Man City fans, 3. And I always tell them, and I always take the mick, like, until you actually get onto the European stage and win one of these big trophies, you're gonna be that title of not being a global club is always going to be with you. So yeah, a long-winded answer to your very short question is I think it should be recognized as a trophy. And this is me showing the Chelsea fans I'm not salty about it. I'm actually congratulating him. It is a major trophy, and hopefully it will become a very major trophy, like Rax said as well.
Well, look, just about that, when the European Cup first started, English teams didn't enter. English teams, they felt they were above it. So the first, arguably, whether they would have won it or not, they showed there was arrogance in the fact they said, no, we don't even have to be there because we're too good. Real Madrid went on to win the first 5, and then after a few years, then English teams started entering and then didn't win it for a while. I think Celtic won it, then United won it, and obviously then we won it as well. So there's precedence for that level of arrogance, and
Ash says Henderson played. Ash says Henderson played centre back in our semi-final. That was because of injury, Ash, and and we were forced to. It's come the final, we tried to bring our strongest team. But look, sorry, Avi, before you go on, I've just got a super chat.
Super chat, yeah.
There's only one legit treble, bro.
United fan.
Adams. No, he's actually not a United fan.
He's not?
No, I can't remember. Forgive me, Adams. Forgive me.
It's one of the only things we have to hold on to, because United they're in a shit show at the moment. So
I think he's
it must be a United fans, Adams.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Adams. He is a regular in the chat, so I should know. But just remind us, without a super chat, what club you support again. But yeah, look, in terms of legitimacy of a treble and what it's known as or whatever, I just think over time these titles will be changed. I don't know if you guys agree.
Yeah, it depends on. I think it comes down to sponsorship money. I think it pays more than the League Cup, doesn't it? The Carabao. Well, Carabao Cup is paid in, what is it, crypto now? Is it, Rex? The winners of the Carabao Cup. I don't even know what the
lunch and vouchers.
£100,000 is it? Or trip to Mars maybe in like 2056. God knows. But yeah, I think competitions like the World Club Championship. I think because they're held in, like, I think it was held in Qatar when we won it. I think it's more valuable to the club, and like you said, Grizz, global fan bases grows as well, especially when you win it in countries where they host it. So
absolutely, yeah.
Even in 2006 when I think it was in Japan when we lost it to Atletico Mineiro, again, you're growing a fan base. Imagine if that's being held next year again in Japan, and we've still got a player like Taki Minamino. All of a sudden the growth levels, where Adidas usually as a sponsor sort of holds a stronghold in Japan, it will go significantly higher if we're still with Nike and Taki's still at the club. And if the Club World Championship final is held in Japan, like Saitama or wherever. So it does depend on the global base of where these competitions are held. And yeah, it's good to see that, look, Chelsea won it fair enough. I'm happy more for Tuchel. I don't really care for Chelsea fans. It's a nice little another sort of name of a trophy you can put on his resume for wherever his next job is.
I actually agree with you. Ben says we'll have these lot at Wembley on February 27th, lads. I just wanted your opinion, guys. So obviously, naturally, and Twitter's Twitter, isn't it? As soon as something like this happens, when I say something like this, Tuchel wins the World Club Cup on the back of the Champions League. Comparisons start flying about in terms of he's completed. What was the tweet I responded to? I can't remember now.
But is that he's done it in a shorter time than Klopp?
No, something along the lines of he's completed Klopp's legacy. Basically, what I'm getting at, Rax, is sort of this comparison between Jurgen Klopp and Tommy Tuchel. Where do you stand? Because Avi reminded me of a tweet, like Avi does, of a tweet he done when he was first recruited or something at Chelsea, whatever.
2008.
And look, I'll come to Avi's opinion, but yours, Rax, like, where do you stand with this comparison with Jurgen Klopp? Is it a valid comparison, and how do you view it and judge it?
Look, Tuchel is a good manager. I don't think any of us deny that. He's probably one of the best managers in the world because he's at one of the biggest clubs in the world. Certainly one of the most successful. And he's obviously now already won a big trophy. But I mean, look, I'm biased, but if you offered any Liverpool fan a choice between Klopp and Tuchel, they would all choose Klopp. And I'm pretty sure that if you're talking to balanced fans around the world, non-Chelsea fans, they would pretty much all choose Klopp as well, because Klopp has demonstrated it over 2 leagues. He's demonstrated over a longer period of time.
Thanks.
He's taken over a team that was far behind where Chelsea were when Tuchel took over, at least in terms of squad strength. And he's slowly but surely taken us back to the top of the European and world game. So it's not, people can make comparisons. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't have a problem with that. But certainly in terms of fit, Klopp is the guy for Liverpool. And as an overall manager, I would take Klopp every day of the week.
Avi, where do you stand with that?
I'll tell you where I stand. It's one of those where people start saying, and I think it's the most, I just never try to engage in the argument of or the debate of Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes. They're all 3 different players. But with Klopp and Tuchel, you can see why people do compare it, because they both started their journey in Mainz. Yeah. Both did a stint at Dortmund, where Klopp was the more successful.
Let's start off at Mainz. Do you know the differences in terms of success and where they took over? Because am I right in saying Mainz was not in Division 1 when Klopp took over, right?
Yeah, and he got him to the
but they were when Tuchel took over, right?
I'm not sure if
I'm not sure that, but he was the first manager to take them into the Bundesliga. Yeah. He was the first manager to ever take Mainz into the Bundesliga 1. Yeah. I think he did get relegated after a couple of seasons in there, and I think he ended up leaving when he couldn't get them back into the Bundesliga again. But he was a player at Mainz. He was a living legend there, so I think he felt a degree of kinship with the Mainz fans, and then obviously went to Dortmund and developed the same thing there. But I think that was a difference. So I think Mainz was in the Bundesliga. Mainz were in the Bundesliga when Tuchel took over.
Yeah. If someone in the chat knows that, people are saying we know Klopp took them up. What we're asking is when Tuchel took over Mainz, were they in the Bundesliga? We're pretty sure they were. We're just being lazy to check.
He then goes off. Obviously, Klopp then takes a little sabbatical for 6 months before he takes over Liverpool. But Tuchel, meanwhile, I thought this was a hard job for Tuchel, and I don't think he gets enough credit because he was never going to be able to compete with Pep's Bayern at the stage. Because those 3 years, Pep's Bayern were brilliant in the Bundesliga. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't get that Champions League over the line, but they were playing some scintillating football, and he was trying to put up with them. He was trying to keep pace with them, but it was unfortunate because they didn't have the resources that Bayern did. But he still got them back into the top 4, third regularly. I think he won their equivalent to the FA Cup as well. And then he goes off to PSG, where Klopp came to England. And at PSG, yes, the demands are the Liga is the bread and butter. There shouldn't be no question about not winning it. I know Poch's Paris Saint-Germain team lost out to Lille last season, but the expectations are you do a domestic treble, that's nothing special. A bit like when Brendan Rodgers was at Celtic. Your league is that's not an achievement. But he got into the Champions League final with that PSG team. Yes, under COVID rules, no fans, but I thought they were unlucky. We're talking about a manager who could have won who could have had a European Cup on his resume already before he went to Chelsea. So he's just been unlucky, but he's taking ballsy jobs. He takes big jobs. He takes jobs with risk. Dortmund job was a risk because you're taking over the
on the back of a legend.
Exactly. So you've got to try and keep pace, or you've got to better it. And he did a good job at Dortmund. Goes to PSG, where it's a poison chalice. You get maximum 18 months, 2 years, if that. And he did relatively well. Got him to the Champions League final. No other manager yet, maybe Poch will do it this season, has gotten to that stage. So he did a good job there. Bayern Munich were exceptional under Hansi Flick, wasn't it? That sort of last 6 months when he took over, Bayern were exceptional. And then he took over Chelsea, where midway through the season, he took over and he won the European Cup. We never thought that Frank Lampard had anything about that Chelsea team. We didn't think when Tuchel took over, realistically, that maybe that tweet, Grizz, the one that I did, I thought, look, if he takes over, maybe they'll have a great run in the Champions League. Because we did a show as well when Chelsea beat us 1-0, when Mount scored at Anfield. I said, they won't win the league, but top 4, but I think they'll have a good run in the Champions League. They could do it. You just never know. And they did go on to be a City team, which, people will say, Pep didn't play a defensive midfielder, but Tuchel it was a master at what Tuchel did in the Champions League final, and they got there. So you can compare the two and where they are at the moment. But look, Klopp, give him the resources that Chelsea have. We're looking at more than one league title. We're probably looking more than one European Cup. You've got to give Tuchel 2-3 years, see if he can build a Premiership winning team, if he gets the time that is as well at Chelsea. And he's already come through a bit of adversity as well with Lukaku, a personality coming back to Chelsea. Fans
has he come through that adversity?
I think he's handled it really well.
He absolutely has, and I said that at the time. Just very quickly before we continue this, because it's interesting. Back-to-back league titles at Dortmund, and made UCL final against Bayern. Yeah. I mean, that is
he won the DFB Pokal. They beat Bayern 5-1 in the final.
Yeah. I think that was Lewandowski and Kagawa, wasn't it? They absolutely ripped him.
That is so underrated, guys.
Yeah.
So that's the equivalent of us going up against the Man City, and doing that, in the Premier League. Now we know how hard it is to fucking overcome this Man City, which is a we're dealing with a oil state, basically. We're not up against a normal football club. What's normal about it? Tell me. No, there isn't. There's nothing normal about it. It's one of those dream come trues if you're a City fan. But the reality of it is it's pure financed, and an investor like, what's his name? The owner?
Roman
Abramovich.
No, the Man City.
Sheikh Mansour.
Mansour, yeah.
It's an absolute dream, as if you're a fan, that someone like Sheikh Mansour has come in and transformed your life, which is your club. So I'm not having a go at the fans and everything, but the reality of it is, they're a juggernaut, and it's all based around the money and having the most money and the best coach in world football, in probably history of football, one of the top coaches in the history of the game. So, and Jurgen Klopp is the only competitor in that war against them, just like he was against Bayern Munich in Germany. Bayern Munich, lads, we know it. Everyone knows Bayern Munich own the Bundesliga. They fucking own it. So to win back to back,
they owned Dortmund for 2 years.
Yeah.
They owned Dortmund, if you think about it, when they were taking Götze and Lewandowski.
So when we sit back and try to work out what Jurgen Klopp done, and I know you said the Hansi Flick team against Tommy Tuchel was brilliant. So was that team that Jurgen Klopp was up against.
Robin Ribery, yeah.
Oh yeah, Robin Ribery team. That was a fantastic team. But so look, and another thing, Avi, a lot of people come out with the two respective squads that they took over. I'll come to you, Rex, probably with this first one, and that first 11 that Klopp took over. Compare it to the one that Lampard left. In my language, and if there's any Punjabi speaking or Urdu speaking people in the chat, it's called Zameen Asman. Yeah. Now, what that means is Zameen means ground, and Asman means skies. So that's the difference. It's a saying in Punjabi or stroke Urdu. That was the difference between the two teams, right, Rax?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, look, Klopp has, along with obviously a lot of the backroom staff, Edwards and all these guys, Hunter and Fallows and all these guys, he's taken the club from, I mean, I wouldn't say rock bottom, but probably not far off it. And slowly but surely, every season, up until the point we won the league, we made progress. First full season got Champions League football. Second full season got Champions League football again, and got to the Champions League final. Third full year, won the Champions League. Fourth full year, won the Super Cup, the Club World Cup, and the Holy Grail, as it was at that time, the league. I think we would have done it again last year. I think we would have won the league again if we hadn't lost Virgil. And you never know, right? You never know. But we were top even after Virgil up until mid-January or something like that.
I agree. If it was even if we had a normal season with injuries, like normal injuries, every club, we hear that phrase, every club has injuries. We would have happily accepted every club has injuries season. But it was no club has had that level of injury season, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's been spoken about many times about having three centre-backs that were season-ending injuries. But then even when Fab came in and Henderson came in, they got injured as well. Mm-hmm. And we were playing a guy who was, the season before, was playing for Kidderminster, and another guy who was playing in the Bundesliga too. Anyway. But look, Klopp has slowly but surely over the years steadily built the club. And I don't want to diminish Tuchel's record, because it's also a skill to be able to come in from nothing and harness a squad of talented players, turn them around, set up a system, and then go on and win arguably the biggest trophy in world football. So that's absolutely a skill. So he deserves credit for it.
Just coming on that, Rax, as well. Sorry to interrupt. I don't think Klopp would want that on the back of his sort of. He wouldn't want that basically at Chelsea, where realistically you've only got 1 or 2 years. Klopp isn't a 1 or 2 year manager. He's not going to make a team into title contenders straight away. He doesn't want the Disneyland lifestyle. And he's mentioned that at United. He could have gone to United and brought all the best players, but he likes projects. Dortmund was a project. He came to Liverpool. He knew that, and he said it in his interview. He goes, within 4 years, we'll be talking about one title. you know, whether that was the Champions League or Premiership, but I think he meant the Premiership. And that was his first ever interview. He goes, listen, I need time. I need patience from doubters to believers. And it will be ugly. It will be ugly before it gets pretty. And that first lineup against Spurs, that midday kickoff, Skirtle, you know, Klein, Lucas, Jordan Rossiter in the squad, João Teixeira in the squad, you know, Origi, Benteke, Minele.
I think it was Lallana playing as a false 9.
Well, yeah. And it was.
I remember, I think it was Lallana playing as a false 9 with Coutinho.
I'm not going to be able to sleep well now.
Yeah, but it was and he knew from that day on. He goes, it's going to take time, and we had some good results. We beat City away at the Etihad in the league 4-1. You know, so obviously we were starting to see things, but then it would come crashing down again, like the likes of Watford when we got out muscled, out bullied. You know, and in the 2016-17 season, the next season when he had a full year when he brought Mane in, we got, you know, we had 83% possession against Burnley, but we lost that game 2-0 very early on in the 2016-17 season. So he knew it was going to take time. I don't think he gets that kind of time or patience at a club like Chelsea, at City, where he's going to say, look, I need 4 or 5 years before we become the European champions, before we become league champions. So it's give or take. Who would I prefer? Klopp all day long. Could Tuchel do the job that Klopp did at Liverpool? I don't think he could, but that doesn't mean that I think that Tuchel's a bad manager.
No, I agree with you. Look, you know, I banter with Chelsea fans all the time and I have a laugh and you know, call him tactical Tommy. But look, there's a difference between having, and like I done in my tweet, I said, look, if you're doing it for banter and joke and whatever, and that's fine. That's where, you know, it's all part and parcel of football tribalism. But if you look at it, and we've tried to look at it objectively, because you both have spoken quite glowingly about Tuchel. I know Avi's a fan. If you actually analyze their paths and careers and sort of the jobs they've taken on and the projects, I don't think there's a comparison yet. Yes, if he wins the league next season, then I do think there's a conversation to be had. I hold my hands up. Absolutely, hold my hands up. There is a conversation, but I don't think there's any comparison to a Pep I mean, I know Pep for different reasons. We could have another debate on the qualities of Pep, like take away the finances. You know, the actual coaching ability of this man is insane. So that's a different type of manager. And obviously Klopp does it differently. But look, tactical Tommy is definitely in the top 3 or 4 managers in world football. There's no denying that.
Just a quick sort of side note as well. Credit to German managers as well, up and coming German managers. Marco Rose, who could be in a Premiership job in 2 years. Someone like Nagelsmann, who could be in a Premiership job in 2 years. Matthias Häsler, who's at Salzburg, could be in a Premiership job in the 2-3 years. It shows you the quality that there is in Germany. You know, Hansi Flick, I don't think he's the German national manager yet. I think Joachim Löw is still there. But and you compare like who we've got. You know, Lampard, Gerrard. You know, Dean Smith. It shows the quality that there is in Germany, Grizz. And hopefully we can be saying the same about England managers up and coming in the next few years.
Adamson's and another super says, you men don't even need to give this whole resume. Anyone that knows ball knows Klopp is a bad boy. In this era, only Pep can talk to him. Real general. Appreciate that. That's coming from a United fan. So, you know, the respect, and look, there's absolute mutual respect around world football for Jurgen Klopp. You know, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. But yeah,
the day that Klopp walks out of Liverpool will be a sad day for us. But the phone will be ringing non-stop for him to take over other places. So
for sure,
yeah,
and that says it all, right, Rax? That says it all.
Absolutely.
There's not a top club that will not be wanting Jurgen Klopp as a manager, and that's usually a telltale sign, I believe. But look, that's that. Enough of Chelsea. Don't ever say we're not fair on this channel.
God, 29 minutes at Chelsea.
Yeah. But look, very quickly, very quickly though, it gives this League Cup final an extra edge, Javi.
Yeah.
It honestly, it gives it an extra edge because I think we've cemented, or we will cement, second at minimum. Yeah. And I think they've probably cemented third. You never know, they might drop, but I think they'll definitely finish third, in my opinion, anyway. And both have got favorable draws. They've definitely got a favorable draw in Lille, and we should have too much for Inter Milan. It gives this competition chance for either manager to add another trophy to their resume, as you made it clear that that's your go-to word this the time.
Resume. CV.
I know you didn't give it too much importance and relevance, League Cup, but now, surely
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was hoping for it. I was hoping like
from the start
during Klopp's tenure. I would love for Liverpool fans. Unfortunately, I won't have the opportunity, but for the Liverpool sort of fan bases in like the London area to go out to Wembley to go and see Liverpool in a cup final. Like I know the first season we got there in the Carabao Cup final, and even in the second season, Grizz 2016-17, we only lost to Southampton in the semi-final. So that was considerably like, if we had beaten them, that was another final. But no, I've said that. Look, I would love for Klopp to win a Carling Cup and FA Cup. It just looks good. Look, Pep takes it seriously. Yes, he's got the squad and, he can rotate like anything because he's got 3 squads of 11. I get that totally. But once you're in the quarters, you don't want to lose out. Like, we've had a good draw as well. I think it matters on the draw. We've played some good teams, like favorable teams. And now we're in the final. You got to play your full strength. You got to play your full strength and win it. I know he's already said that Kelleher, if he's fit, touch wood, knock on head, will get the nod ahead of Alisson, and I'm totally fine with that. But I think for the rest of the team, it should be full strength because it is bragging rights as well. No matter how much Klopp or Tuchel may play it down, it's just another final for them. The other manager will want to get one on the other, and I think it's been quite a while. Correct me if I'm wrong, Grizz, since Klopp's had one over Tuchel in the league. So it'll be nice to get one over him. I think, obviously, we've got memories of that Liverpool-Dortmund game when Tuchel was Dortmund manager in Liverpool, in this first season when we beat them 4-3 in that incredible game. But, it'd be nice to go to Wembley full strength. They'll all be playing their full strength. They won't want to lose this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll go all guns blazing.
It is massive edge to it, I think, now. Rax, it sets it up real nicely. It's not going to be a League Cup final that sort of, everyone's saying, it's just a day at Wembley. Both sets of fans, both sets of owners, both sets of coaches and players. This will feel like a Champions League final, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, similar to Avi. Look, at the start of the season, I said if we don't win the league or the Champions League, then it's going to be a failure of a season. And I still kind of feel that way because I don't think winning the Carabao Cup or winning the FA Cup makes our season successful or unsuccessful. But when it got to the Leicester game and you could see the crowd were up for it and the team were up for it, when you win that game, then you get the Arsenal and all the kind of hullabaloo that surrounded the Arsenal game, and we get through them. I was at the Emirates tonight when we beat them. Now we're in the final and it's against Chelsea. And look, there's no love lost between Liverpool and Chelsea. It's one of the teams that I despise the most. Respect their achievements, but I don't go back Chelsea.
Just quickly on that. Yeah, this is when they took over the first time and they got taken over for Roman, because the first game of the season when they had that whole was against us when they beat us 2-1. Yep. That still hurts. When Veron scored, I think they had Veron who scored, but whatnot. But we've hated him since then. Obviously, Mourinho and Benitez. There's a lot of nastiness between the two sets of fans. Like we despise them, they despise us. Fair enough. The Joe Cole thing as well.
We played them so many times that in those years, Champions League semi-finals. I think they knocked us out in one quarter final. We knocked them out in the semi-final in that great game with a ghost goal. There's that rivalry built up over a very relatively short period of time because they were the upstart team with loads of cash, and Benitez was fighting against it, but we gave them a run for their money in some of those. Well, certainly some of those games and in that period. Gerrard in the Carabao, Carling, whatever cup final it was. Gerrard scores the own goal and stuff. Mourinho does the shush. There's a lot of water under the bridge there, and I want us to absolutely smash them.
Yeah,
I think we will.
Hope so, man. That could be a very.
That would be sweet.
That would be a very. I think whoever wins. Will let it be known.
Well, they beat us in the FA Cup final as well, Grizz. When Kenny's they beat us in the cup final when Drogba scored. So we owe them one in the final. We 100% owe them one.
Yeah, as I said, whichever fan base wins will certainly own Twitter for that day or week maybe until because we've played them home and away in the league. And so, therefore, maybe the FA Cup and Champions League, we could meet them. But I'm dreading.
This is the thing, right? This is why we should be so excited also about for the remainder of the season, because based on our recent performances and Diaz coming in and stuff, now Thiago's back. We've got a full strength team. The future for the rest of this season, there's so much to play for. The league, I'm not giving up on it, but the other competitions as well. Like, we're in with a shout winning all of them, and I think we're capable of it.
No, absolutely. Just before we go on to sort of thinking about the team and squad for tomorrow, Avi, there was just a bit of news before we came out live, didn't we? So Jurgen Klopp, in the embargoed section of the press conference, revealed or spoke about his lieutenant, one of his lieutenants, James Milner, and the future. So I think, and correct me guys if I'm wrong in the chat, I'll have to paraphrase because I haven't got the exact quotes. But it's something along the lines of that we're in talks, or we will be in talks with Milner, sort of to extend his deal, and that he definitely won't retire. But he didn't say here, or that means he will continue to play for Liverpool, just vaguely, or that's what was said. What's your views on that? How do you feel about that news?
You want me to go?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one. Look, if I'm all for him staying and getting his coaching badges at Liverpool and having a backroom role, I'm all for that. Well, he's 36 now, isn't he? Coming on to next season, Grizz, I don't want him in the squad. He's good. He's still good enough to play a cameo role, 10, 15 minutes coming off the bench. But surely we have players now at our disposal, especially now that everyone's back and fit. We've got players for that now, to close out the closing stages of a tight-knit game. He probably still needed for this season. When it's 1-0 in a semi-final, he can, draw a foul. He can time waste. He can be a snide. He's been a great servant. Came during Rodgers' era. He's been brilliant. He has been absolutely brilliant. But for me, I don't want to see him in the starting lineup. Not when we've got the depth of midfielders that we have, who are fully fit. As a role model for next season for the young guns like Elliott, Jones, Morton, anyone else that's coming through from the Liverpool Academy, he can be the go-between, a bit like Vitos Matos. I think it would be brilliant. I think he'd be a brilliant foil for that, and his experience as well. He's been there. He's won it. He's won titles at City, at Liverpool. He's been in big European Cup finals. He's won every domestic cup, I believe, and he's got a cracking resume, James Milner. So I would definitely keep him. It just depends on where Klopp sees him. If he still feels that he's good enough to play and be part of our 25-man squad, then fair play. I can't really argue against Klopp, and I won't argue against Klopp.
Rax, Avi's given his political view, I think. Avi's a politician. You'll soon find out if you don't know already. That was a very political opinion on the situation. He said something different to me in the WhatsApp. But I won't expose him.
Allegedly, Grizz alleges that I said that. You don't reveal those messages. Grizz.
Nah, it's fine. Well, go on. Give us your opinion on the situation. I know you didn't hear about it before, so obviously it's going to be a raw reaction. What do you think?
I'm a bit of a politician when it comes to stuff like this as well. But I certainly think our first team has moved past a stage where James Milner can make a meaningful contribution in the league. As a member of the squad, Klopp and these guys see him every day, and if they feel like he can bring something to the squad, then who am I to kind of disagree? But I didn't expect talks to be ongoing. I expected him to leave, and I think that would probably be best for all, because he's a utility player. He can come in and he can fill in a few different positions, and that's a useful skill to have. But I just don't think that in any of those positions he can come in and he should be better than any of the alternatives, because unfortunately his time has passed. Great servant to the club. I think we should shake his hand and leave.
He's all good. I think Grizz's Wi-Fi is playing up. Yeah, go carry on.
Sorry, okay. Yeah, so I think we should shake his hand, and when he wants to come back and do coaching badges and that kind of stuff, if that's his inclination, then we welcome him back with open arms if he wants to carry on playing. But I don't think he's not the future, and he's not the present of Liverpool, in my opinion.
Avi, just very quickly before, I wanted to ask you a question because you're probably clued on in this situation. If you're not, give you a chance to Google it and check it out. So one of my gripes, along with exactly what Rack said in terms of he is a utility player, but he should be probably third choice in each position that he's a utility player for, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So look, let's take it for what I was going to, while I'm talking, Avi, can you try to find out how much he's on? Because that's what the point.
I think it's about 150 grand a week, if I remember correctly.
I did check.
He's signing for free.
130, I think this was back in 2000 and 125 back in Rodgers' era. Yeah, so I'm sure he got a pay rise.
He signed a new contract when he was 30, guys. And so we're assuming that the big deal was obviously signing on free and whatnot. Would there have been an increase in his wages in when he was that contract, that 4-year contract?
He's on Rex, this is your field, mate. 6.25 million per year.
Well, he's not going to work that in his head, is he? So
Rex can.
So that's going to be about.
He's 140
grand.
Yeah, 140 a week. He's on.
So considering he's on that, guys, right?
Mane's on 100. Oxlade-Chamberlain's 120, and Naby's on 120.
Exactly. Look, we're not about reactionary fans, and we don't like shouting from the rooftops and demanding things and kick him out, whatever. Right? That's why I've got you guys on this show today, because I'd like to think of us as calm and rational and politicians, as you guys.
We're in a good mood.
Yeah, but sort of, if he's on that region of wage, guys, right? 140 grand. And we often speak about one of the buzzwords for Liverpool fans right now is sort of the evolution, refresh of the squad, bringing down the average age of the squad and all of these things. And then you weigh up that with the things that you guys have said, and I agree with, in terms of experience, in terms of his professionalism, in terms of his commitment, in terms of his set an example to the younger players that we're bringing through as well, right? How do we balance that? Because if there is because without doubt, we are looking to create, what's the word, Avi, I'm looking for, in terms of create sort of lower the wages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do pay the highest wages in the Premier League. People will be astonished to find out, you know, that people call us tight or whatever, but we actually pay the highest wage. Surely he's one of the players that we absolutely had nailed down that we're going to be saving wages on, right? And give a younger player, let's say we bring in, for argument's sake, let's not start jumping up for, you know, going mad, but let's say for argument's sake, we bring back Nico Williams, for example, who's on about 40 grand, 50 grand, yeah, 40, 50 grand. And he's, well, I think he should be ahead of James Milner as the understudy to Trent. Yeah? James Milner shouldn't be first understudy to Naby. He shouldn't be first understudy to Elliott. He shouldn't be first understudy to... Do you get what I'm going with? Yeah. So for a third at least understudy to, in all of the roles that we said he's a utility player, surely that's a crazy wage, right? Well, either one of you.
Yeah, I mean, if he does stay, I can't imagine that he's going to get the same salary or more. I can only imagine him staying, if we really wanted him to stay on maybe a pay-as-you-play yearly contract, maybe he's on 70 grand a week or something like that, 80 grand a week perhaps. But again, we have to weigh up the benefits and costs of that. Like, does that block a player coming in, a player, either a youth player or someone, does it take away minutes from, you know, development time for a Morton or someone like that? And then, you know, we could potentially be looking at, if we were to bring in a similar type of utility player like a Konrad Laimer from Germany, who can play, you know, fullback in the fullback positions and in midfield. I think that would make a better long-term move, because I think Klopp does like his utility players, and if you've got a player who can play in a few different positions, then that means that you can have a smaller squad, which we also know Klopp tends to like. He doesn't want to have 25 players, if ideally. So I don't know, but
I think it'll be a compromise. I don't think he'll even. I think it'll be like what Rack said. I think we'll offer him 60, 70 maybe to stay on, but do your coaching badges. And who better to learn from than Jurgen, Pep, Linders, Krawietz, Vitos Smash, the setup that we have. He's probably thinking, like, if I do want to get into coaching and management, and he might not want to, it might just be playing reasons that he thinks, no, I can go elsewhere maybe and do something. I think Villa, Grizz, he's done a stint there. I think that would be a great job with Gerrard, McAllister. I tell you why, because the youngsters that Villa are churning out, it would be a great move for him. Like the Ramseys, like just being around that. I know they've got Ashley Young, but you add Milner into there, I think they might come knocking and say, listen, do you fancy coming back to Villa Park for a couple of years, helping with the youngsters, nurturing them, But yeah, I think it'll be a compromise. I think we're not offering him above 80, I feel. I think that's the benchmark. Like, look, do 2 years there, go and get your coaching badges and come and being around the setup.
Guys, before we continue, and the odd one or two moaner in the chat, as you're always going to get one or two moaners, have said we thought this was a Burnley preview. We're coming to it. We just got a couple of news that we had to sort of give our opinions on. Guys, be patient, and while you're being patient, give us a like. There's over 335 of you in here. Unbelievable support, but not enough likes. The ratio is really poor. It's get it up to like my ratio of Man City friends. Do you know what I mean? At least. But I agree with you. If that's the case, guys, then it absolutely makes sense. Like, if we offer him 70K a week and say, look, your role, right? And he's aware of his role, that it's going to be limited. And he's the ultimate professional in terms of he will never kick up a fuss, knowing his age, knowing his role. And then the badges, and that makes sense. Then I would have no qualms, because I still think that you can't get anyone more. Then that will make sense in terms of the balance of the experience, the commitment, the professionalism. And then it tips the scales kind of thing in terms of keeping him on for about 60, 70, as opposed to giving that to a young newbie. So, but yeah, let's see how it goes. And
I think one of the things that I do think that a lot of foreign managers like in the English game is that it's useful, because we do have a high percentage of foreign players in almost every top team. But having some English players around, I think, helps to give
100%
a bit more of a feeling about the Premier League. It helps to instill some values around the club and all that kind of stuff.
100%.
And I think sometimes fans, I think we underappreciate that. Like, yes. But I think managers are smart. This is a team game. There's a lot of I don't know how to say, like a feeling. You get that feeling when you're a Premier League player. And I think managers use players to transmit that, and I think maybe that's also a role that Klopp might want Milner to fulfill.
We know this. Every Premier League winning team has a certain core of English or British players in it. So it is what it is. Look, hopefully that's resolved. I just thought we'd bring it to attention, and it's good we've had a chat about it, because there was a big, massive. You know how it's like on Twitter, just suddenly goes mad and wild. The fire spreads. Oh my God, Milner's getting a new deal. This is fucked. Oh my God, we're keeping the old man here. Get him out of the club. 150 grand. Give that to Salah. Transfer that wage straight to Mohamed Salah's, contract, and blah blah blah. But I'd like to think we've dissected it, and we've sort of calmed the nerves and fan base to make it make sense. Burnley tomorrow, Avi. Man City demolished Norwich. You woke up and sort of, gave the WhatsApp group some hope that Norwich City might pull off something.
The first 35 minutes, I think everyone had a bit.
Everyone ignored you, as they usually do, and said, "Go back to sleep, Avi." Expecting Norwich to do something, but what do you think tomorrow? Well, there's no option. There's no choice. We have to. Even a draw's over, if it's not already over. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, look, we've just got to keep asking the question. I'll keep saying it every week. Look, until it's mathematically impossible, we've got to still believe, especially in this Liverpool team and squad. It's a ground where we actually played really well last season at Turf Moor. Where it can be really ugly, but the last two seasons, I think the season that we won it in, we beat them 3-0. Last season again 3-0 when Nat Phillips scored a bullet of a header. We played really well. So it's been kind to us during Klopp's obviously early tenure. It wasn't, and they did beat us at Anfield last season when we were going through turmoil in that February sort of March period, and we saw the spat between Sean Dyche and Klopp. But I just want to talk about Sean Dyche as well. I know he's not flavour of the month or flavour of the year amongst Liverpool fans, but he's done a good job at Burnley. He's been there for 9 years, and he's seen a few relegations, but he's got them promoted and they've solidified themselves as a Premiership club. Yes, it's probably not pleasing to the eye, their football, but he does genuinely, and I hate this because people have just got this naivety thinking that they just play rubbish football. They don't. They try to actually play football on the ground. He's trying to get players who can play off the feet and on the deck, but unfortunately, he does sometimes usually resort most of the time back to the Chris Woods. I know he's gone to Newcastle, but back to the gung-ho sort of style. But he's a good manager. I think he's a manager that should have moved away when he had a few opportunities, maybe a couple of seasons ago, 3-4 years ago, where maybe an Everton would have come knocking for him. There are clubs, a Newcastle maybe. But yeah, he's stuck it out for this long at Burnley, and I think they've brought in Weghorst, who's a really good player. He's got a decent goal scoring record, which we can touch upon. But yeah, tomorrow, Grizz, it's got to be we've got to win. It might not be pretty to the eye, but we've got to go to Turf Moor and just put them to the sword and win, and just keep asking that question week in, week out until City drop points or we drop points. We've just got to keep asking the question.
It is. The margin of error is just fucking mental, isn't it? But it is what it is. That's what we're talking about. That's the levels that both of us, Man City and us, have taken us to. Just a very quick one on Weghorst. We actually looked at him as well.
I'll just put up his stats while you ask question. Keep carrying on. I'll just put his goal scoring record in for the last 6-7 years. It's very impressive.
Yeah, we actually made an inquiry about Weghorst. I didn't tweet it at the time because I thought the fan base is going to go wild and say, why the fuck are we looking at a player like Morten Weghorst? But maybe now, if you see him, I don't know how many appearances so far. Couple, isn't it, for Burnley?
It's 2. Yeah, 2 right there. He scored 70 in 144 goals, Grizz.
So he's got a couple of rave reviews, hasn't he, Rax? Apparently against United. I didn't see the performance myself, but people said there's more than just a lumberjack target man type thing. And maybe our scouts are the amazing geniuses that we know they are, and they saw something in him. I mean, we didn't go further than an inquiry, but we did actually look at him.
Yeah, look, I mean, I haven't seen much of him, but I saw the game against United, and yeah, he was decent. He's okay with the physical stuff, but he's got a decent touch, can link play well, and from the game that I saw, and. Look, I think with Burnley, it's probably going to be a little bit too little, too late. But
do you think?
They've
got a couple of games. See, the thing is, they've
got 3 games in hand.
They've got 3 games, and I get they're against us and Man United, but they just pulled off a point against Man United, right?
Well, right now, because I think anyone can pull up. I think anyone can pull out a point against United. Right,
I think they'll be disappointed with that. I think they'll be disappointed. And going into tomorrow, obviously, we hope to God that we come away and we're not the butt of the jokes tomorrow night, because that would be very hard to take. But I genuinely think, Rax, if you analyze it and if you look into it deep, everyone's looking at the bottom of the table, like literally they're the bottom team. I genuinely think they're one of the better bottom teams in recent times. Like, they're not your Norwiches or your whoever was before, like you guaranteed a win kind of there. They do get a lot of draws.
Yeah, the games to hand thing does kind of change your opinion on it potentially, because if they can turn some of those games in hand into wins, they can start progressing. Even if they get 1 win out of 2, or a win and a draw, suddenly 4 points makes a hell of a difference. It's difficult. I haven't seen enough of Burnley this season overall to say how good or not they are, but. Usually teams that are down there at this time of the season, they're going to be there until right at the end, and I would say probably they're going to go down unless, maybe, who knows, maybe Weghorst can end up being their saviour. So But before that, I know the start of the season, their form wasn't good at all. So let's see. It might make a difference.
Look at this. Burnley drew with Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United. That's not bad. They do. Apparently, they've drawn 12 this season, and they have the best defense out of the top 10. It's just at the other end, like you said, and that's what they're hoping that Weghorst. And people are taking the piss out of me because I called him Morten Weghorst. What's his first name?
Wheat Weghorst, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the W is like a
Francois Weghorst. I don't know where Morten came from. I think Morten Pedersen was it. Morten Pedersen's been on his head for a couple of weeks because he was scared of the draft when I was going at Norway. It's a private thing.
Okay, come on, guys. You should.
No. I think there was a Morten Weghorst for Celtic, Grizz. Let me Google it because I think you could be right. Actually, that's exactly. Why you said
there's always method to my madness, if you know what I mean. There's always a reason why I say something.
Danish player.
Yes.
There you go.
Player. There you go. Morten
there
Weghorst.
You go. Don't ever doubt Grizz Khan.
Hey, you're lucky I saved your bacon there, Grizz, because I mentioned it. He played for Celtic for 6-7 years. That's good.
He was born in 1971, so he was a player
Makes
a long
sense,
time
right?
ago.
Makes sense.
He's a year older than Grizz, yeah, basically.
Makes sense then, right? Come on, people.
No, because I was thinking there was a player, but the one that we're talking about is not Morten. But then I knew that there was a player for Celtic. Yeah, you're right.
So it made sense in my head somewhere along the line, and that proves it did.
It wasn't a howler. It wasn't a howler. So
no. Very often, you're the howler, brother. Come on. Very often I have a howler. I may have a slight howler, but I usually can talk my way out of it. But yeah, look, I'm not a fan. I know Avi's sort of done his political one again and made out Sean Dyche is a good coach, and you respect. Look, there is. That's what it is.
I don't like him as a coach. It's just that level of respect. Like, look, he's done it for a Burnley to stay up in the Premiership for this long. You've got to respect it. I'm not going to be one of those fans that say, "I hate him," this and that. I think he's a bit of a shitbag. Yeah. But he's done a respectable job at Burnley. You've got to respect it.
No, absolutely. There is absolute respect there beyond the banter and the joke and the piss taking of a Sean Dyche and whatever. And obviously we hate him more because after his altercation with Klopp and he calls the Klopp a moan or whatever. But you're right. A club the size of Burnley to remain in the Premier League for this long is a fucking achievement. You're right, actually. If you think about it, they don't have much finance. How many times have we heard that they're on the verge of sort of, liquidation? Not liquidation, but sort of needing to sell and, get investors in. So, but Rax, tomorrow there's absolutely no leeway in terms of from our point of view. We have to, and especially what you spoke about earlier in terms of the squad, the strength of our squad, the availability of the players, the level of our players in terms of mentality right now. There's no excuses, right, Rex?
Yeah, look, the winning is the only choice. We are still in the title race. I think we were right on the edge of being out of it potentially a few weeks ago when that potential gap was 9 points. And my opinion is we'll be in it. This gap can't grow. If this gap grows to 8 points or 9 points again, I think that'll be a bit tough to recoup.
I agree with you
because the games keep ticking down. So if we can get it down to potentially 6 points winning tomorrow, and then obviously our game in hand, we're right in there. And then it's going to be the first person who blinks. If City end up drawing a game here or there, we go to the Etihad with potentially being 4 points behind, and a win would obviously take us to 1 point behind. It's going to be all to play for. We need to win, and I think we've got the team. The team the other day looked really, really sharp. Sadio came back. I don't know if you saw that goal that he scored in training on socials, but a little back flick and curled it into the top corner. He's going to come back on fire. He knows that he's got stiff competition in Diaz. We've got competition all over the pitch. Players coming back. We look strong. We look strong as hell the other day, and I think we'll do it. And all to play for.
Do you know what? You made a very good point about. I don't know if you meant to make it, but I noted.
Probably not.
I noted a very good thing, a point that made sense to me. We're not necessarily looking for losses from Man City, even. at this stage. So people automatically, and Avi, I'll come to you. People automatically say, "Oh, we need City to lose 2-3 games."
Yeah.
No, we don't. We literally don't.
2 draws effectively, I think.
Even a draw, like we've spoken about in terms of when it comes to us, we speak about draws as losses. Why do we change the goalposts when it comes to City? A couple of draws and we're fucking back in it. But the key is we have to keep winning, right? And just, keep the pressure on. We got to, while you was away, Rack said we got to be between 4 to 6 points. It can't be more than 6 points going into the Etihad, right?
Yeah, it's got to be between 4 or 5 points. It can't be more than 6. It can't be more than 6.
You would say forget it, right?
No, look, I'm the romantic in this. Like Grizz, I've already said, and I know one of your friends has said this in the WhatsApp group as well. I think there's something about Gerrard and Coutinho last game of the season against City at Etihad. No, Grizz. There's something there. There's something in the works that Coutinho's Gerrard could be a thorn at the Etihad in the last game of the season where we beat Wolves and the title shifts. I don't know. Look, I'm a romantic. I'm a fool, right? Literally. So I'm just gonna keep onto that hope. But it will come to that Etihad game as well, where if we're 3 points or 4 points behind, we've got to win there. I think that's we can't afford to draw at the Etihad. As long as we maintain this, as long as we're winning along the way, however pretty, however ugly the game is, we've just got to keep grinding these results out, similar to 18-19 season, similar to 19-20, maybe not too similar to 19-20 because we obliterated the league by January, but 18-19, just keep plugging away, keep chipping away, Grizz, as they say, like keep getting these results, beating the likes of Burnleys, the Watfords, the Newcastles, all those teams at the bottom.
Let's look at our next 3 fixtures, people. So we've got Burnley, Leeds, and Norwich.
Leeds and Norwich are home, aren't they? And then Burnley at 12 points. Yeah.
So there's absolute zero margin of error in those 3 games, right? And then in the same period, Man City. My mind's gone blank. I didn't write it down. But yeah, look, as Kevin says, 9 points. Look, we need to claim 3 points against Burnley, Norwich, and Leeds. And if I remember rightly, City have got Spurs in that period. Now, Conte is very capable of getting a draw.
I think that's at the Etihad, though, Grizz.
Conte can get a draw. Conte can set up teams. I know he hasn't got the personnel right now, but if he's the coach that we've lauded him up to be, and I do actually rate him very, very highly, he's got to get a draw. He could get a draw there, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Look, so here we go. Always one hero who saves the day. Kieran, thank you, man. City's next 5 people. Talk to me, Rax, or have you one of you gone?
They're definitely dropping points in one of those 5 games. I think there's a loss in those 5 games. 5 games.
Okay, so Spurs is at home, Everton away, United home, Palace away.
Palace have already beat them this season. Palace beat them at the Etihad. I mean, I know City went down to 10 men, but Palace have beaten them. And they were pretty good against us, to be fair, Palace. They could have easily got a draw in that game.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't expect Everton to do us any favours.
Forget that.
Frank Lampard.
Can you delete that one, please, Everton? Can you delete that? Thanks, Karen.
But you just never know, Grizz, and that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of this Premiership title. Like, yes, they're 9 points ahead. But a game in hand, we've got 3 favourable games. Say that with a bit of confidence.
Kieran, if you could come back, or someone come back with our next 5, because I've mentioned our next 3. I think we've got Everton and United making up the other.
But those would be home games, though, Grizz. Which I'll take Everton at home and United at home.
Yeah,
UCL
games in between as well. So that could complicate matters a little.
Who have they got in the UCL again? Easy drawing it.
Yeah, they got
Villarreal.
Got Lille.
No, not Villarreal, Grizz. Come on, Grizz. Behave yourself.
What's that?
It's a favourable tie. Someone in the chat. Who City got?
I think it's Villarreal.
I know they got like Peterborough in the FA Cup. If that means anything. Peterborough.
But the point we're trying to make, and the point,
Sporting Lisbon. That's a tricky game.
Here we go. Go on. I'll leave it to you.
No, I like Ruben Amorim. I rate Ruben Amorim as a manager. They had a good result yesterday against Porto as well. That's a tricky game. Like these games can be tricky, Grizz. But look, we all know Pep needs to win that big one, and that big one is the European Cup. There's that distraction as well. How he'll be burning after that final last season because he knows he made mistakes. So he will want to. He'll be definitely wanting to go for that, gunning for that European Cup, and they can have a great run in the league because they've got their squad. But you just hope that one of his sort of there might be a little bit of a distraction.
One of his eyes. Go on, say it. One of
his eyes is on one competition than the other. Not that he's cross-eyed or anything, Pep. He's a beautiful, brilliant bastard. But no, you just never know. There could be a distraction. Look, if they meet a Liverpool in the quarters, or a Bayern Munich in the quarters, or a PSG in the quarters, or a semis, then there is hope for us in the league.
Oh, here we go. Selections in the building. Big up selection. Here we go with the negativity. Here we go. Selection forever. Wishful thinking. If history tells us anything about City and the Pep, they don't bottle the lead when they have it. We will drop points as well at some point. There you go.
They bottled the final, though. They bottled the final. And you just hope that they can bottle a league title. Look, we're chasing this time round, yeah? We're chasing for the majority of it now. Just like they were chasing 18, 19. And yeah, look, we had those 2 draws against Leicester, West Ham now. In hindsight, if we won one of those, we win the league in 18, 19. Now we're doing the chasing. It all depends on whether we can chase well and they can slip up. You don't want Liverpool, especially this Liverpool team, which has just got Elliott back, Thiago back, a wonderful player in Luis Diaz who's come to Liverpool. You don't want a Liverpool team like that who are hungry now.
The hunger's there. Yeah.
And look, let's not beat around. City are the favourites at this stage,
for sure.
Given the lead. I kind of said it's probably 20% us, 80% them, something in or around that kind of margin. But we've turned the odds over before. We've got a team that's their match, in my opinion, when we're fully fit. And let's not give up now, right? If they end up winning the league and it's mathematically impossible, then fine, we'll give them their flowers and they'll be the champions. Fair enough, but let's not give up now. Well, why?
I don't think this is correct, Lannon. I think you've missed out Leeds. We've definitely got Leeds next week.
Leeds is the game in hand that we've got to play, yeah. So
yeah, because I'm going to that game. That's next week, so that's Leeds. So that's how I know you've missed it out. But appreciate the effort. So you talk about the squad. You've named some players there, Avi, coming back or back in fitness. Your Jurgen Klopp tomorrow. What are you picking? How are you going about this?
Alisson. Should I just name the 11 that I think?
Mm-hmm.
Alisson, Trent. I think Konate comes in tomorrow. The weak horse factor. Because Tony and Mbeumo gave Matip a bit of trouble in the Brentford game. And I think there's another game where Matip, he was a bit...
West Ham?
It wasn't as good. Yeah, Antonio. Yeah, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, who's come back into some great form in the last 2-3 months. Midfield, Fabinho, Thiago. I stick with CJ. I'll stick with Curtis Jones tomorrow again.
Wow, same midfield.
I stick with Curtis Jones. Yeah, I stick with Curtis Jones as bring on the hate, bring on the criticism, bring on the abuse. Diaz for me on the left because it's a nice introduction away from home. His first away from home. Burnley.
It's a nice introduction.
Let him take a few kicks. Let him take a few kicks. Let my hero take a few kicks tomorrow. It's a physical game, but he's handled himself really well. James Justin gave him a bit of a rough ride. Yeah, Cardiff gave him a little bit of a rough ride in that little cameo that he played. Yeah, so I'll play Diaz. And look, I want nothing but to see a fit and firing Mane coming off the bench tomorrow. I think the AFCON win will do him wonders. I think it's great that he's won it, and now he can concentrate on Liverpool the last few months, get us some more silverware. Salah on the right, I think he will be chomping at the bits after the 2 chances that he missed against Leicester City on Thursday. And then up top, Jota. I was going to say Bobby, but I'll go with Jota. I like Bobby away against the likes of Burnley, but I'll go with Jota.
So you haven't, just to remind you, because I like doing these ones, because now, because you've got so much pride, you're not going to change your mind.
No, I'll come back with a rebuttal.
You won't change your mind. But Rodney reminds us, He didn't say Hendo will play. What he said was Hendo's absolutely comes back straight into the squad. So you're not gonna select Henderson. You're gonna stick with Curtis Jones and Thiago. I agree. Fabinho is a nailed on. But you don't change one of the other two.
No, Thiago's. Look, Grizz, I told you, Thiago's fit. I play him. Yeah. Thiago needs to, and especially alongside Fabinho, stats are there. There's no BSing here from my mouth. The statistics are there. When he starts with Fabinho, if he was fit for at least 30 of the 38 games remaining, we win the league with Thiago and Fabinho in the middle. So Thiago needs to start. He played really well at Turf Moor last season at the back end of the season. I would start with him. If Hendo's back, then yeah, that will change my thinking. Then I'll play. No, hands up. I'll play Hendo in front of Jones, but I didn't think Jones did too badly against Leicester. Yes, he can dwell on the ball a little bit more, but maturity, that's a maturity thing that comes. Yes, Elliott in terms of progression and development is probably a little bit ahead, but that doesn't make us, Jane Jones ain't good enough, or all this slander that I hear on his name. It's a time thing. Sometimes players learn something quicker than the other. That's totally allowed to happen. We had that back in the day at Liverpool as well. You know, some players are ahead in their progression, some are just a little bit behind, and Jones might be just needs to work on a few things. And he'll look at Elliott, the way he plays, the way he quickly releases the ball, and maybe he can take a leaf out of his book.
Fair enough. Selection. Our friend says rest Thiago first half, come in second half. Diaz start, Mane second half, Konate in. We need to protect Thiago at all costs.
Yeah, that could be. I'm sorry, Selection, but that could and big up Selection, by the way, but that's like every game, protect Thiago at all costs. I'm one of those, like, if he's gonna break down, he can break down in training or any game. Unfortunately, that's the way it is with Thiago. As long as he's fit, play him every game.
Before I come to Rax, and Drago says, appreciate the super chat, my friend. He says, Ali, Trent, Konate, Virgil, Robbo, Fab, Thiago, Hendo, Mane, Salah, Jota.
What am I
Rax, how would you approach tomorrow, knowing that we've got a full squad? We play again on Wednesday, Inter Milan away. We've just played Thursday, haven't we?
Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday.
Sorry. Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. Knowing all that, taking all that into consideration, how do you set up tomorrow?
Similar to Avi, back four. Back five, exactly the same. Midfield also.
So you're both adamant that Konate should come in for Matip. Am I assuming that you guys are bringing Matip in for Inter?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
And then the question mark is that third spot in midfield. Hendo, Naby, CJ, the second half performance the other day when Harvey came on, I just thought he was great. And it's early, right? It's early. Maybe it's too early to bring him back. And if that is, that's Klopp's decisions to make. But from what I saw when he came back, it's not quite that he never left, but he was really good. Just that speed of thought more than anything. And so I would be tempted to start him. And then, front three, I would go Salah, Diaz, and Jota. Bring Mane on second half. Obviously, he's played 120 minutes last week, and he probably had enjoyed his time in Senegal. So bring him back second half, bring as a sub for Diaz at some point, and giving Diaz a little bit of a. One of the great things with Diaz is he doesn't lose the ball a lot. Like, I know people overplay the whole passing accuracy thing, 91%, but he doesn't. Quite a lot of wingers, they'll get the ball and then they'll lose it in silly situations. Just when you watch him, you realise that he very rarely loses possession of the ball, and I think that's unique and that's very important in our system, because a lot of our system is based on everyone being compressing the play in the opposition's half. And if we're making attempts to score goals and attack, then if they do defend competently, it's most important for us to keep possession of the ball so we can change the angle and then attack again and again and again, and that relentlessness will get us goals and wins and points. So that's the way I would go about it.
Just want to come back on a great point that Rex made: speed of thought in Elliott. He's 18 years old, Grizz. At 18 years old, we look at players in the past and they always want to do something out of the ordinary, make an impression straight away, please the crowd, do something, do a few tricks. His intelligence at 18 and speed of thought, the way he releases the ball, it's great. It's as if Klopp and the management team, and maybe the players like Henderson, Thiago have been involved in this process, or Fabinho. It's like he's got a tailor-made program made of what they expect of him at a certain age. And when he gets to 19, 20, be a bit more expressive. But he's just an amazing footballer. And I was one of the advocates, Grizz, at the beginning of the season. You may want to admit to it or not, where I said another loan would be great. But boy, was I wrong. And I was wrong in so many ways that he's coming and he just looks at ease. At 18 years old, there's very few footballers that you can say, especially the magnitude of this football club, especially the success we've had in the last 2-3 years. He's come and he just eased himself in and he's learning alongside the Milners, the Hendersons, the Fabinhos, the Thiagos, all players with such great wealth and history and rich in like trophy cabinets in their houses, that this kid's just coming and he knows what to do. He knows when to release the ball. Where we think that Jones can be a bit immature with the ball and lose the ball in some difficult positions, or where he should hold on to the ball, Elliott's doing the complete opposite. He's just brilliant. And yeah, it seemed as if he's never left, especially with that Cardiff cameo. Played well again when he came on against Leicester too.
Guys, Mustafa reminds us there's over 340 of you now, and there's only 144 likes. Now, I know not all of you like Avi, but at least you like Rax's debut. Come on, just for the sake of Rax's debut, can we get this up to 200 before I reveal the team for tomorrow? But now, what's this? But yeah, look, I disagree with a couple of things in terms of the lineup, and I'm very happy to have a debate and a chat around it. So I think I agree with the Konate selection. I absolutely agree with that. Not so much. So the only thing that sort of gets me, Avi, is Weghorst isn't fast though. I get he's powerful and big, and I also think sometimes we've got this theory about Matip. Protecting Matip, like we talked about protecting Thiago. There's also this thing about giving Matip rhythm, keep playing him until he fucking breaks down.
He breaks down. He's not breaking down this year. He's passing his MOT week in and week out.
So therefore, taking that into consideration, I think we've just on the back of 2 clean sheets in a row. So there is a case of continuity, and the way
we conceded against Cardiff and Palace. He's kept one against Leicester.
So that's 2 in a row, right?
How's it 2 in a row? It's 1 in a row. We conceded against Cardiff. We conceded against Palace before then.
Okay, so whoever told me that, you're sacked.
Yeah. Who was that? Was that prediction? Was that Evan? Was it? Evan giving you some slide notes in there.
We keep it moving. Look, it's no problem. Whoever told me that, you're sacked. But moving into midfields where I disagree with you guys. I think Fabinho is nailed on to start and at Inter. And I think Henderson is nailed on to start tomorrow. Absolutely Henderson. The reason for that, in my opinion, is not only sort of freshness because he hasn't played and he'll be energized. The one thing that you have to match Burnley is their work rate, and also increase the average height of your team, because we know their best chance of scoring is through set pieces, right? Free kicks, high balls, second balls. And I think Henderson and Fabinho give that extra added height in midfield in front of the back four as well. So obviously we've got Konate and Virgil who are monsters. Fabinho 6 foot plus, Henderson 6 foot plus, 100% play in my opinion. I think the third spot, controversial to some, splits the fan base. I think it goes to Naby.
Yeah, I can see.
I like Naby as well. Yeah.
I think it goes to Naby, lads. And I'm basing that on Henderson and Naby matching the work rate of their players. Naby being given the Thiago role, so to speak, the technical side of things as well. And then,
so are you saving Thiago for Wednesday then?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I think.
I'm saving Hendo for Wednesday because of the work and the speed and the energy that Inter have under Simeone, the midfield of Brozovic. I'm saving Hendo for Wednesday. But no, I understand where you're coming from.
I think the speed of the Inter Milan team will suit Thiago far more.
Fair play.
That's just obviously just an opinion. I think Thiago possession. I think because you got to remember, Inter only played 2 in midfield, Avi.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you can either look at a 2 or a 4, depending if you count the wing backs as midfielders. But I think it will suit more Thiago. I mean, I'm not saying Thiago doesn't suit tomorrow, because Thiago fucking is such a wonderful player. It suits any type of game. But I think we go with the freshness and the pressing of Naby. I think Naby's had a couple of good games against them as well, if I remember rightly. And then up front, I think we go Jota, Salah. Jota's a nailed-on starter Jota and Salah are nailed-on starters in our next 2 games, right, guys? I think we agree.
Yeah. Especially the form that Jota's in, yeah.
Yeah. Jota's undroppable at the moment, which is a magnificent place to be, right? I think we go with Bobby, people. It won't be everyone's liking, maybe. It won't be everyone's cup of tea, maybe. Everyone's going to say, oh, Diaz, or hungry Mane. I think Mane and Diaz. I think Mane's rested for Inter. I think the front 3 for Inter is Mane, Salah, and Jota. Because of the slowness of the Inter defense, we go with the quickest 3 we have. And so therefore, I think Bobby, and for that role, Bob, I spoke about in terms of Bobby likes bamboozling lumberjack type defenders. Bobby doesn't play up against me and Tarkowski. And Tarkowski will like forwards that are playing up against them. You know, I think Bobby coming into midfield and then using the pace of Mo and Jota, I think that's the way we go. That's just my opinion. I don't know if you want to come back with anything.
I think you make a good point about Keita, and I think also if Burnley are playing a deep block, the great thing about Keita is he's capable of beating a man, and as soon as you beat a man, you unstabilize their structure, and then someone has to come out to meet him. So that would definitely be an advantage. I actually think Bobby might play against Inter just because it's an away game. I think one of the guys in the chat mentioned that they played 3-5-2 today. So, you know, if you can somehow block off the balls into midfield against Inter, and Bobby likes that, you know, parading in front of the kind of midfield in that between the lines, I can see a situation where he plays that and we just say, look, if you're going to play 3 at the back, your central defenders can have the ball, try and break us down, try and play out from back. I expect to see Jota tomorrow, but Bobby, I think, might be a shout for Inter.
Wednesday.
Bashar, appreciate the super chat, bro. He says, I agree with Grizz. Thiago will suit more against Inter, especially with that Barilla. Huge fucking loss for Inter.
Yeah. The played with... Yeah, go on.
Oh, by the way, Bashar is an Inter fan. You will dominate the midfield. We will play 3 in midfield. Vidal,
Çalhanoğlu, yeah.
And Brozovic.
They played Brozovic today with Barella and Çalhanoğlu, but obviously Barella is up.
Those three, Avi and Rax, those 3 are physically strong but very slow.
Yeah, well, Çalhanoğlu plays that 10 role, doesn't he? And he's not the quickest to get back.
He's not the quickest.
So
technically,
the legs are in Brozovic
very
and
good.
Barella.
I mean, Çalhanoğlu is a set piece master. His technical ability in terms of set pieces is second to none. But Vidal is like we terrorized him when he played at Anfield. Do you remember?
Yeah.
For Barca in the famous comeback game.
Yep. He's not got the legs that he used to have when he was at Juventus.
Yeah. So look, obviously, first and foremost, let's get the win tomorrow, and then we will deal with Inter, whatever we've got. Interesting selection, guys. Not only on the first 11, but
subs bench.
I mean, if we know Mane and Hendo are coming back, and they are 100% coming back into the squad, then what happens? Who's dropped out? Is it your man Taki?
Listen.
Well, I don't know, because who drops out, guys?
Please, let's not talk about Taki.
2 players.
No Taki slander, man. Taki or Diaz, no slander on them, please.
Oh, Yard, let's talk facts. Origi won't come back into the squad, we're assuming. Even though
Can I just come in this? Isn't it great though? Isn't it great, regardless of who misses out? Isn't it great for the first fucking time in a long time? We can talk about depth, the riches of having 2 squads of 11, like literally 2 squads. Even our second goalkeeper Kelleher is a really good goal, fantastic number 2. And yes, probably a little bit short at right back cover, but we've got Milner there. Do you want me to read this out?
Go on, yeah.
Selection with the super chat again. Nice one, mate. How much have you guys watched Inter? I've been impressed with them. I think they are similar to us pressing wise. Think we need technical players for that game. Yeah, look, they've had a great season under Simeone and Inzaghi. They're top of the league as well. I think they're due to Napoli, which was a title game today. I think it was 1-1.
They've had a very, very tough set of fixtures in and around so they've just played Roma, Napoli. And then I believe, they played the Milan derby, Roma, Napoli.
Lost that as well, by the way.
Then they've got us.
Yeah.
And someone correct me, I feel as though they've got a huge game on the weekend as well. It may be Juve.
They got Sassuolo. They got after us. They got Sassuolo. Then they've got Genoa, and then they got the Coppa Italia semi-final against Milan.
Before us, I think, or after us, something like that.
That's 1st of March. So, before us. Yeah, we play again on the 8th of March.
So that is not an easy set of fixtures for them. We have to bear that in mind. And look, selection says that pressing-wise, they are. I don't think they've got the energy that.
Well, the wing backs are Perisic and Dumfries. Dumfries had a good season, to be fair, mind you. He's had a good season, and Perisic
doesn't come back to haunt me. I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me. But whoever plays, and it probably will be Sadio Mane, will tear Dumfries a new one.
No, Chris, I think he's a good player.
Dumfries,
he's had a good season, man.
Dumfries is Spurs level fullbacks.
Aurier and what's the other one?
I'm telling you.
Tanganga.
I'm telling you. I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me. If I get clipped up, so be it. The game's the game.
There's plenty in the archives.
Our resident Inter fan says, Grizz, remember also more likely we lost Bastoni, which is a bigger disappointment than Barella, but you have to watch out for our front two.
Dzeko and Martinez, isn't it?
I think he's a good player. Dzeko, I mean...
he's still scoring goals, though, isn't it?
He is still scoring goals.
Italy's a great league for him, though, isn't it? Even at Roma, he was scoring like 30 goals. Italy's a brilliant league. But he was good at City as well. He played really well in City. At City, the thing was, there was too much competition. Aguero and everyone else that was around that City team. But Dzeko's always been, I think he's been a magnificent player.
But listen, guys, we've gone way over time here. I was hoping to do an hour, but the chat was flowing. Really, really appreciate the chat, as always. Far more intelligence in the chat than on the panel. I speak for myself. Rax has been brilliant. Avi's a good kid, but yeah, you guys have been brilliant in the chat. Rax, want to thank you for coming at such short notice.
My pleasure, man. It was a pleasure to be on. Thanks.
It was. We had fun. We tried to cover as many topics and subjects in a rational, logical way, which is the name of the game. We don't want to be too shouty and sort of reactionary to sort of, social media, whatever. But really enjoyed it, my man, and hope to have you on again. Thanks, Abby, anything else?
No, tomorrow, Red Fellas post-match reaction show. Are you doing a watch-along tomorrow? I might join you if you are going to do it. No,
okay. But you can. But feel free to do one if you want.
I don't like doing it on my own. No, I feel a bit shy in front of the camera by myself, so.
Okay. Well, you spend enough time.
I'll be wrapped up in bed and watching at 6 a.m. Oh, wait, what time is kickoff tomorrow? Is it 2 p.m.?
It's way too early for you. Yeah, it's 2 p.m. So you could do
6 a.m. No, I could potentially do it. Just got to make sure the missus got to let us stay at the indoors. But no, probably not then. So the post match, I'm going to be tomorrow because I've got a disciplinary for missing too many Sunday shows. So I'll be back tomorrow as well. It'll be a good one.
Guys. Get it to 200, and I might force Avi to do a watch along. So get it up to 200, and we can see.
I think that's deter them if anything, Grizz. That's going to deter them if anything.
That's true as well.
There's no one that wants to watch me by myself on a watch along, but yeah.
So Red Fellas post match tomorrow. That should be a cracker. Fingers crossed that we're celebrating and analysing a comfortable win with no injuries. We go into the Inter Milan. And we just keep going. We just keep doing our job. And that's all we can do. The pursuit of City, goes on, hopefully. And we'll take it from there. As the guys have said, so much to play for. Wow, so much to play for. The state of the squad, the mental, not only the physical state, but the mental squad. it all bodes well to hopefully a glorious into the season. But yeah, that's been the pre-match hype alongside chat about Milner and chat about Chelsea. But hope you guys have enjoyed that. Avi is going to hit us with the intro, and we'll see you all guys tomorrow. Take care.